Hello, everyone. I'm Brady Bridges, and I am the broker and owner of Reside Real Estate here in Fort Worth. And I want to welcome you to our second episode of Real Talk with Reside Real Estate. We are a top producing team here in Fort Worth, Texas, and we want this podcast to be a resource for anyone looking to learn more about real estate and the great city of Fort Worth. Today, I'm joined by Stephanie Casco on our team. So Stephanie is originally from West Texas. So she's good people out from Odessa. She's in Midland. She attended Texas Tech, and she started her career working in the nonprofit industry before switching over to real estate in 2017. Stephanie, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Little thing about Stephanie, she's actually the first agent that I brought on. So she's an original OG, and one of the big reasons Reside is what it is today. So I call her Culture Fit because she's helped build the culture into what it is.
Happy to do what I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So Stephanie, today we're going to be talking about, what actually is, what does it look like to buy a house? So obviously you worked in real estate in West Texas. You moved up here. You've been working here. So when somebody reaches out or contacts you, whether referral or signing up online, what really is the process from, how does it get started?
Sure. Like Brady said, I started out in West Texas, moved here to DFW, but the process is really the same. When you're looking to buy a house, there's certain steps that you really need to take to make sure that you're ready to buy a house. Everyone gets really excited. It's an emotional process, but there are some things that you need to make sure happen in the right order. So typically when someone tells me that they're ready to make a move, to make a purchase, I want to come alongside of them and make sure that they're prepared. So that's getting them connected with a lender first and foremost if they're going to be financing. So pre-approvals are a big part of preparing for the home buying process because at the end of the day, you don't want to be looking at houses that you fall in love with and then find out you can't afford. So getting them connected with a lender is really the first step.
I feel like a lot of times just when we have people come in, they're usually thinking in terms of not what they actually qualify for. It's based off their monthly, I want to spend $1,200 a month or $1,300 a month, and they really have no idea what they can afford.
And they don't know what that equates to. So they just think, oh, this is what I've been paying in rent. So that's what I can afford in a mortgage payment. But really having to explain to them that, okay, that's how much you want to spend monthly. So let's kind of break that down, talk to a lender and find out, okay, what does that mean for a down payment? What does that mean for your monthly payment when it includes
so
insurance?
Step one's a lender.
Yeah. Just making sure that you can afford what you're actually wanting to buy.
Okay. So let's say I get pre-approved. I find out what I can afford. What are we doing next?
Let's go look. Let's go see what's out there. So that's kind of part of the first step after getting pre-approved is just seeing what's on the market. So the last couple of years have been a little crazy, as I'm sure most of you know, with just how quickly things were moving. So we didn't have as much time to really go out, see what was on the market. But as we're seeing things be on the market, longer, you kind of have time to at least catch your breath. And
it's a great time for buyers.
Yes, it's a great time because you can actually have some options and look and see what's on the market before you have to write a full price offer with no contingencies. So it's nice to be able to go out and actually see what's on the market, see what's available, kind of decide, okay, here's our criteria, here's our wants versus our needs, things like that.
So you're not, obviously I know, but for people listening, you're not having to write those crazy high offers anymore.
Not anymore. Not like we were seeing the last, 18 months or so.
So we found the house.
Yes.
What do we do next? I've never bought a house before.
You've never bought a house. Okay. So let's walk through the contract. A lot of first-time home buyers kind of get ahead of themselves and they're like, all right, let's do it. Where do I wire the money? When do we close? All this. But making sure that they know what they're signing is important. Making sure that they understand what an option period is, getting inspections, figuring out the financial side of things. So when you find the house, when you find the house that you want, making an offer that's competitive, but that also gives you some space and some opportunity to really make sure things are what you want them to be. So an option period, typically that's well, historically it was a 10-day option period. Here recently, we've seen that shortened in more of a competitive market, but it's a period of time that you have to get an inspection done, to negotiate repairs, and ultimately decide, okay, yeah, I want to move forward, or no, I don't think this is the one.
Yeah, and just kind of off this subject, but people that are coming from other states, I've seen that a lot of states have a built-in inspection period that is just guaranteed during the contract. So that's one thing that's different about Texas is you actually pay for those days. Yep. You can back out for any reason within those number of days and get your earnest money back.
Correct.
So we make our offer. What happens then? How long do you sit and wait for someone to reply? What does that look like?
Well, that varies. Again, in a super competitive market, sometimes they would say, all offers are due by this date, and then we'll make a decision within the day. But typically when I submit an offer, I like to ask the other agent, hey, when can we expect to hear back? Usually, historically speaking, you would hear back in the first 24 hours and know whether or not they're going to...
I'm not as patient as you are, so I want to know in like an hour.
Brady's texting every hour. I try to tell my buyers, hey, let's give them the day. Or if we submit an offer that night, it's like, hey, let's let them sleep on it, talk about it, and then we can, call them again tomorrow. But just giving them some time to talk through it. And then ultimately they will either come back and say, yes, we like your offer, we'll move forward. Or they'll come back with a counter offer saying, hey, here's some things we want to change, or we'll counter on the price. And that opens up negotiations to be able to solidify what that contract is going to ultimately say.
Okay. So we've countered, offers accepted. What are my next steps as a buyer? What do I need to do? So
in the first 3 days, you've got to get your earnest money and your option fee to title. So what that means is earnest money is basically good faith money saying, hey, we are serious about buying this. We're going to put this money in escrow with title. And then if we back out after the option period, we don't get that earnest money back. The option fee is what gets you that certain number of days to get the inspection done. And if you back out, then you lose that option money. If you don't, it goes towards closing. So you have 3 days to get that money to title. And then from there, we schedule the inspection. We see what the inspection report says. If needed, we submit. How
much are those fees typically for like option period, earnest money, inspections?
Earnest money is typically 1% of the sales price. If you want to make a really competitive offer, it looks good to go a little bit higher. Option fee, anywhere from...
I guess it depends on the price of the house.
It depends on the price of the house, but typical first-time home buyer, say the house is a $350,000 house, you're looking at $3,500 of earnest money and anywhere between maybe $100 and $500 of the option fee.
Okay. And then inspections?
Yep. Inspections happen.
Probably around $300.
Oh, pricing. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Probably.
I'm just trying to think. The questions that I get most of the time are like,
how much do I
have to have right now?
Right.
Most of my first time home, some other people think they have to have the whole down payment right away. Right. So that's why I think it's important to talk about this because, it's just, people don't know. We do it all the time. So it's just.
And the earnest money, a question I get is that extra? Is that an additional amount of money you have to put down? But no, as long as you fulfill your duties and, everything goes well with the contract and you close, that earnest money goes towards your closing costs, the whole amount of money that you owe at closing.
We're under contract. We've done inspections. We've negotiated repairs. So what happens during that period in between when we go pending to closing?
After you get out of the option period, it's a lot of work on the lender's side. It's a lot of title work happening. It's a lot of waiting on our side. Not a whole lot that needs to be done. It is paperwork.
Except getting your paperwork in.
Yes. It's paperwork. It's HOA documents. It's, title prep, lender's documents, all of that. And then 3 days before closing, they will send a closing disclosure for us to look over, make sure all the numbers look right, give instructions for payment, and then you show up on closing day, ready to go.
The exciting part.
Yes.
And then the crappy part about having to actually pack up your boxes and move. Yeah. So we just kind of want to run through what it really looks like to buy a house. And I know that was super simplified, but at the end of the day, when you hire a really good agent, it should be a fun and somewhat simple process. As long as you're trusting your agent, you have a good relationship, and you're following their lead. Obviously, everything is your decision, but having someone in your corner that's experienced and knows what they're doing really can take a lot of stress out of the process. I think that Stephanie is one of the best at doing that. I'm a little more high pressure on other agents to get things done. So she's a little more laid back.
I get things done when I need to. I can, really put my foot down when needed, which is one thing you want in an agent. I want everyone to be happy and have fun and for it to be a seamless process. But if there's an issue, or if we're waiting on somebody, or if somebody's not getting the job done, I will step up to the plate for my clients. And
I'm going to have William on here tomorrow, but I definitely that in between time and pending, that's when a lot of the real tedious work for the actual buyer is having to get all their paperwork in, buyer doc. I mean, it sucks, but it's part of it. And that's why they give you a lot of money to borrow houses. So one of the questions I'm asking everybody is, we're in Fort Worth. We love Fort Worth. What are the things that you love about Fort Worth?
I love Fort Worth because it's a bigger Lubbock, Texas. I'm a big West Texas girl. Brady mentioned that. Love Lubbock. That's where we moved here from. And Fort Worth just feels like a bigger Lubbock. I love the vibe here. It's very family friendly, way more low key than east of 35. And
have you adopted the frogs yet?
I have not. I do not dislike the frogs, but I bleed red and black. And so it's really hard. I will be cheering for them in playoffs. Don't worry. But I haven't gotten fully behind the frogs yet.
It'll come. We'll get your kids on the train.
Oh, man. Unless you're helping with tuition, I wouldn't influence too much.
So kind of what is your last tip for someone that's thinking about buying or selling? What would you tell them right now about the current market, and what should they be planning on doing, or what would be their best next step if they wanted to get started?
I think it's a great time to talk to a lender, see where you stand. Interest rates have been a little crazy recently, but we're starting to see them trickle down. So it's a good time to talk to a lender, see how much cash you have to put towards down payment, see where you stand with interest rates right now. I know the holidays are crazy. I know there's a lot going on, but knowing where you stand so that first of the year comes, you can make a move. You can be ready to get out and look.
I totally agree. And it's really crazy. If you're thinking about selling, buyer activity has picked up quite a bit in these past few weeks. I think just because of the rates have dropped a little bit, but very encouraged about what we're seeing here.
I think the holidays are also a great time for sellers to consider putting their house up, because buyers, people that are looking to make a move, have all their Christmas decorations out, all of the presents, and they realize that their house is too small.
And you got to figure, if you're looking in December, you have to move. There's a reason you're looking in December.
There's a reason, yes. But people are getting the itch to make a move during the holidays.
Well, Stephanie, thanks for jumping on. We're out of time for today, but thank you all for listening. If you have any questions about today's topic or want to learn more about the buying or selling process, visit us at residedfw.com. This has been Brady Bridges and Stephanie Casco with Reside Real Estate. Thank you.